Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israel launches a limited ground maneuver into Lebanon. Washington stresses to Jerusalem the importance of ultimately pivoting from military operations to a diplomatic pathway as it voices support for Israel's limited offensive in Lebanon. The IDF Home Front Command issues new directives amid concerns over a possibility of an imminent Iranian attack on Israel. Jerusalem will guarantee the safe return of Israel's northern residents to their respective communities, and it will utilize all of the means at its disposal to change the security situation that after 11 months of belligerent cross-border attacks by the Iranian proxy Hezbollah from Lebanon into Israel. In a meeting with mayors of northern communities, Defense Minister Yoav further asserted that the IDF would soon enter into a new phase of fighting to realize its pledge.
השלב הבא במלחמה נגד חיזבאללה יתחיל בקרוב, וזה יהווה גורם משמעותי בשינוי המצב הביטחוני ויאפשר לנו להשלים את החלק החשוב של החזרת התושבים לבתיהם. את זה אנחנו נעשה, וכמו שאמרתי כאן לפני חודש, אנחנו נעביר את מרכז הכובד. ככה אני אומר עכשיו, אנחנו נשנה את המצב ונחזיר את התושבים הביתה בכל מאמץ שהעניין הזה יידרש.
It is important to note that the United States initially warned Israel that a ground maneuver into Lebanon would constitute a red line, stressing that it expects the leadership in Jerusalem to accept a proposed ceasefire arrangement that was jointly relayed by Washington and Paris.
Israel may be now launching a limited operation into Lebanon. Are you aware of that? Are you comfortable with their plan?
I'm more aware than you might know, and I'm comfortable with them stopping. We should have a ceasefire now. Thank you.
While senior Israeli officials initially told TV7 that Jerusalem was willing to postpone its ground maneuver into Lebanon, the Iranian proxy Hezbollah blatantly rejected American-French mediation efforts to accommodate a temporary cessation of hostilities. This was made apparent during a visit of French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot during his visit to Beirut yesterday.
En troisième lieu, je suis venu poursuivre les efforts diplomatiques initiés depuis un an et qui se sont accélérés il y a quelques jours à New York avec la proposition de cessez-le-feu mise sur la table par le président de la République et le président Biden, que j'exhorte les parties à saisir dès maintenant. Il reste un espoir, mais il reste peu de temps. J'exhorte donc Israël à s'abstenir de toute incursion terrestre et à cesser le feu. J'appelle le Hezbollah à faire de même et à s'abstenir de toute action susceptible de mener à une déstabilisation régionale. Je l'ai dit tout à l'heure, le Hezbollah porte une lourde responsabilité dans la situation actuelle, compte tenu de son choix d'entrer dans le conflit dès le 8 octobre de l'année dernière et d'y entraîner le Liban, ce que nous avons toujours déploré. Sa responsabilité aujourd'hui, dans son intérêt, dans l'intérêt du Liban, dans l'intérêt de la région, c'est de cesser le feu.
Following the French top diplomats' meetings in Beirut, the Biden administration seemingly altered its tone toward a limited Israeli ground offensive, with the apparent hope that military pressure on the Hezbollah terror group would force it, as well as its masters in Tehran, to reconsider a diplomatic path forward.
We, of course, continue to support a ceasefire, but I think sometimes people either misinterpret or have their own version of what a ceasefire is. A ceasefire is not one side in a conflict unilaterally putting down its arms and stopping the conflict. It is an agreement for both sides to stop the conflict. And in this case, what we have proposed is a 21-day ceasefire where both sides would stop attacking the other and we would reach a diplomatic resolution. And we are going to continue to engage with our Israeli counterparts, with Lebanese counterparts, and with other countries around the world to reach that objective. But at the same time, there are a couple other things that are true as well, which is that number one, military pressure can at times enable diplomacy. Of course, military pressure can also lead to miscalculation. It can lead to unintended consequences. And we're in conversations with Israel about all of these factors now.
Meanwhile, Defense Minister Yoav met with IDF troops along the Lebanese front, during the course of which he reiterated the goal of a looming ground maneuver into Lebanon.
המטרה שלנו זה להחזיר את תושבי הצפון לבתיהם. עבור החזרת תושבי הצפון לבתים שלהם, אנחנו נהיה מוכנים לעשות כל מאמץ. זו המשימה שלכם, זו המשימה של צה"ל, וזה מה שנעשה, ונפעיל את כל מה שצריך. את הכוחות שלכם, כוחות אחרים, מהאוויר, מהים וגם מהיבשה.
Subsequently, overnight, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin called his Israeli counterpart Yoav Gallant, during the course of which General Austin informed General Gallant of Washington's agreement on the necessity of dismantling infrastructure along the border to ensure that Lebanese Hezbollah cannot conduct October 7-style attacks on Israel's northern communities. However, per a Pentagon readout of their conversation, Secretary Austin stressed to Minister Gallant the importance of ultimately pivoting from military operation to a diplomatic pathway to provide security and stability as soon as feasible. Immediately following their phone conversation, Jerusalem's top defense official instructed the IDF to prepare for a ground maneuver.
שיש לנו זכות גדולה לכתוב את ההיסטוריה כמו שעשינו בעזה, גם לעשות כאן בצפון, שהתחלנו את זה מבצעים יותר בחתימה נמוכה, והיום אנחנו הולכים להיכנס לתמרון יותר משמעותי ולהחזיר את תושבי הצפון בביטחון לבתים שלהם. זה עניין מהותי, כי מאז 2006 לא תמרנו בלבנון. ואני אומר לכם שזה עניין מהותי.
Subsequently, overnight, the IDF received the order to launch a limited ground maneuver into Lebanon, focused on eradicating Hezbollah's terror infrastructure along the border.
The Israel Defense Forces is conducting limited and targeted raids along Israel's northern border against the threat Hezbollah poses to civilians in northern Israel. These localized ground raids will target Hezbollah strongholds that threaten Israeli towns, kibbutzim, and communities along our border. Hezbollah turned Lebanese villages next to Israeli villages into military bases, all ready for an attack on Israel. Hezbollah had prepared to use those villages as staging grounds for an October 7-style invasion into Israeli homes.
Admiral Hagari went on to stress to the Lebanese people that Israel's war is not with them, rather, solely with the Iranian proxy Hezbollah.
Our war is with Hezbollah, not with the people of Lebanon. We do not want to harm Lebanese civilians, and we're taking measures to prevent that. We will not let 7th of October happen again on any one of our borders. We will continue doing whatever necessary so that Israeli families can return to their homes in safety and security.
It is worth noting that the majority of Lebanese do not support Hezbollah. Nevertheless, the largest sector of the Shiite Muslim community that is believed to comprise roughly 33% of Lebanon's population regard themselves as blind followers of the recently eliminated Hassan Nasrallah. And while they acknowledge that Hezbollah's actions led them to their misery, rather than blaming Iran, they evidently blame the Arab Sunni world for not joining them in their suicidal fight against Israel.
وضع لبنان صعب كل مناطق صارت مهددة بس نحن إيماننا كبير بالله وبهالمسيرة وبقضية فلسطين إيماننا كبير فيها لقضية فلسطين وكان فينا من الأساس نحن نتركها كنا بألف أمان لو تركناها بس نحن معه لو على الموت للسيد نحن معه مكفين
بعد عم تتفرجوا لتاخذ كل الدول العربية هي وتاخذونا كلياتهم التخاذل هيدا حرام على الشعب اللبناني والشعب الفلسطيني حرام التخاذل هيدا.
Meanwhile, earlier today, a Palestinian terror group launched a number of projectiles towards central Israel. And while the majority of projectiles were successfully intercepted, at least one landed in an urban area of Hod HaSharon, while another two exploded on an adjacent highway.
לפני מספר דקות נשמעו אזעקות בתחום גזרת תחנת גלילות. שוטרי התחנה זיהו מספר פריטים מסוכנים שנפלו בגזרת רמת השרון. אני מבקש מכלל הציבור להמשיך להישמע להוראות פיקוד העורף ולא להתקרב לאזור. אני חוזר שוב ושוב ואומר לציבור, ברגע שנשמעת אזעקה, להיכנס למקומות ממוגנים. הפריטים האלה, למזלנו הרב, נפלו בין שני בניינים וליד פארק ציבורי. אם היו אזרחים בקרב הפריטים האלה, היה יכול להיגרם אסון כבד.
While no injuries were reported within the city of Hod HaSharon, 2 men, including one in his 50s and another in his 30s, sustained separate degrees of injuries from shrapnel. They were transferred to the Rabin Medical Center for further treatment. Meanwhile, the IDF Home Front Command announced a change to its directives, as part of which it instructed residents of Jerusalem, central Israel, and a number of regional communities to limit their movements in light of an assessment that Iran may be preparing to launch an attack toward Israel. The assessment, which is done jointly with the United States, comes amid growing voices in Tehran itching for an attack. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. I would like to encourage you, pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. Separately, if you're blessed by our productions, which are exclusively donation-based, please consider supporting our programs with a donation. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you an Erev Mevorach v'Shana Tova v'Shketa, and God willing, we will see you during our next update. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.